If it hurts, you ain't the brakes, no gates, you know let us put on more steam. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our lead, our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, sides, through the game, tap, this win it is. Press you again, we're here for the first minute. Carry like you never 6 minutes.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Just look around. You got the mountains, you got the most beautiful city in the whole entire country. The university is absolutely, looks like it's out of a storybook. It's just beautiful. People are incredibly genuine and extremely nice. It's just a place that obviously I'd want my kids to go to school. And it sells itself. You don't have to sell anything about this place. You just got to get them here. You know, the old field of dreams. Build it and they will come. It's already built.
I've said it from when I got here. The expectation, the standard is to play elite defense here, not just good defense. This is the home of Eric Berry, Al Wilson, Reggie White. The standard is to be elite.
We have some examples in our room what the gold standard of linebacker play is. And when you think about that, just with the history and tradition of this place, you think about Al Wilson. Well, to have Al Wilson in practice today, I think that really brought some elements to the guys in the room, and Edwin was one of them, because he is walking in the footsteps of someone like that for sure.
Yeah, you know, again, I think we should really have the best defensive line in the country. You know, I feel really good about our depth that we're building. I feel really strongly about, you know, their attitude and the determination that those guys have played with. You know, and again, I'm not even talking as much about football, just great guys. You know, they're great human beings, and, you know, they've really worked hard. And, you know, as coaches, we want to see guys develop and reach their full potential.
Doesn't have to be perfect, ain't going to be perfect. We go compete for 60 freaking minutes. All right, enjoy the opportunity, enjoy the environment, and then go play our butts off, play for one another, and have a hell of a lot of fun. Everybody got me?
Yes,
all right.
But you know what? Let's talk a little Vols. That is not me trying to take any shine away from the phenomenal channel Talkin VAWLS and my guy Boogie Bentley runs. So shout out to them. But let's talk a little Vols here.
Do you remember when we fell in love? I remember, don't worry. Do you remember? I remember how it all began. How could I ever forget? It's the first time. Do you remember? I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it coming in the air now. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it coming in the air now.
Good Friday morning. Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. He's Coach Jay. The time for talk is almost over. Is the time for talk ever really? I mean, all we do is talk. That's what we do. We get on here, we get in front of a microphone, we get in front of a camera, and we talk. That's what we do. So maybe talking season is not over, but Coach Jay, tomorrow, one more sleep, a little over 24 hours, we get Tennessee football once again.
Oh man, it's always a great feeling when football comes back, man. It's like my birthday every single day when the football season starts. Love it. Watched all the football last night, man. Dove into it head first. Really enjoyed it. Can't wait for freaking Tennessee to play tomorrow, man. I'm excited about it. We'll get into it right now, but needless to say, I'm freaking excited.
It comes and it goes. We spend so much time on this channel talking about recruiting, about the class of 25 and then the class of 26. And we talk about spring camp and fall camp and everything in between. And now it's finally football season. I know it's early out there on the West Coast. If you tune in to Locked On Vols this morning, it was the worst show we've ever done.
I haven't seen it yet.
At one point, I'd go,
No.
Gainer, are we just going to leave this all in? Like, we're talking about haters and trolls in the comment section. We're talking about, I mean, it was like, and afterwards, he's like, that was a fun show. And I said, Gainer, that they got to see how we interact with each other when the camera's not on. Because we've talked and we've talked and we've talked, but we're going to talk some more. Let's see who's in the chat. We got almost 200 people watching on this Friday morning. We appreciate you guys tuning in with us. Smash the thumbs up, share out the link, let people know the morning show is back. We would greatly appreciate it. Tim Rice is here. What's up, Tim? Noah James is in the chat, says, good morning, Chad. Well, what is up, Noah? It is good to see you in the chat, my friend. Tony Canada is here. Seth Binkley is in the house. What's up, my friend? Ron the Don is here. Everybody's talking to each other. The chat, for about an hour from 9 to 10, the chat was just talking to each other. I love it. This community is absolutely amazing. Brad is here, says, Boogie and Coach Jay, watch my son play tonight. Vols tomorrow. I'm going to be so tired tomorrow night. Man, I'm ready. Finally get to take in some high school football tonight because of COVID last week. Didn't get to see my daughter's first game. So we get some high school football tonight. I'm excited about that. Ruck It Up Barbecue says the wait is over. Uncle Kenny's in the house. What is up, Kenny? I was telling Coach Jay right before we went live, me and Jaden Lofton going to be playing some EA Sports college football on Tuesday night. Do you remember what happened the last time I talked trash to a Tennessee commit and then played them?
He whooped on you pretty good. It was Madden, though. It was
true.
Madden, though. It was Madden, though. I'm going to chime in real quick just on the high school football thing. Big game tonight down here in Southern California, Mater Dei versus Bishop Gorman out there in Santa Ana. Douglas Utu going against an absolute monster of a defense, number one defense in the country in Mater Dei. Can Douglas Utu perhaps earn his fifth star out there tonight? We'll find out. We will find out.
Do you know, is that game nationally televised?
It is. It's on ESPN, I believe.
Awesome.
I think. I'm pretty sure.
All right, you guys are being very generous in the chat. I got a lot of super chats to get through. Tony Canada for 2 says GBO. We appreciate you, Tony. Bleed Orange for 5 says boom, boom, room fee. One more wake up, fam. The Nico era begins. Vols by 60. Vols by 60. We're going to talk some Nico here in just a little bit. I made a video on him yesterday. Some interesting words from Coach Heupel about the playbook and what they're going to be throwing at Nico. And then I'm going to follow that up with some comments from J.D. Piquel that I really want to dig into. Ron the Don for 5 says, Dorfy, let's go. This is the Talkin VAWLS pep rally. Oh, it feels like Friday morning in high school when you know there's a pep rally that day and you don't have to go to class. You get to skip out on Algebra 2 that you're taking for the 3rd year because you can't pass it, and it really doesn't matter in life. But anyway. Ron Don says, let's go. Dude, my poor daughter, watching her go through high school, my wife's like, I don't understand. A C's not good enough. And I'm like, I don't care as long as she passes. Algebra is the most ignorant thing known to me.
Dude, I literally went from honors, government, and economics to special education math. Like, it was literally like the biggest switch you could imagine.
I took pre-algebra, then I took algebra, and I took algebra 2. And when I was in high school, you only had to have 3 maths. So I was done. But my stupid guidance counselor taught me into pre-calculus. So I walk into pre-calculus, and I sit down. Senior year, I sit down. The dude starts teaching day 1. I said, excuse me, sir, I need to go to the office. And I got put in gym 2 for the 3rd time.
There you go. Heck yeah.
They're like, Mr. Bentley, do you realize you're not going to get credit for this class? I said, I don't care. I don't need it. Get me in another PE class. Ron the Don says, GBO feeling a little WWF-ish. I don't know why, but anyway, let's go Vols. Oh yeah. Ron the Don says, Scott Bennett for 5. Cover charge. Let's like this candle. Hit the like button. Thumbs up. Dropping those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. We appreciate you, Scott. Dylan Elam for 10 says, morning, Vols. It's week 1. NC State won't be that bad next week. Archie won't be that good either. All we know is Colorado sucks, and Jordan Seaton was getting beat like he stole something. Skull Buffs! We're going to talk about NC State here in just a second. Nicholas for 2. In the words of Jim Ross, by God, I am here. We appreciate you, Nicholas. Joe drops a $3 super sticker. I can't see what it is, but we appreciate that tip in the tip jar. Michael for 5. Good morning. Tip jar. Thank you, my man. We appreciate it. Adrian Wells has been a member for 17 months. If you don't have a power T beside your name, you can fix it. Jump right over there beside subscribe. right over there on the other side of Coach Jay. There's a button that says join. You can hit that join button. It's $1. We appreciate the support. Sean Cross for $5 says Purple Rain about to fall on Boogie Tuesday. Paying $25 on top of the $50 until I take the series lead. Good Lord have mercy. We're going to be playing all night, Sean. We're going to be playing all night. 0-4. You're going to pay $500 to just keep getting beat. And love you, Boogie. Come on, Sean. Come on, Sean. Marcus Rush for $5. Appreciate it, brother. Dorothy headed to the grocery store so I can prep for tomorrow's game, smoking some ribs and wings. GPO. What's your go-to, Coach Jay? What's your go-to game day food? Let's say, I know it's an early kickoff for you. Let's pretend it's a night kickoff and you got all day to do whatever you want. What's your go-to on game day?
I'm going tri-tip on game day. I'm going nice slow smoke tri-tip. Bring it up to about 105. Sear the bejesus out of it. Wrap it in some butcher paper. Stick it in a cooler for about an hour. Stuck it on the shaver. Slice it real thin. Melt some good cheese on it. Some bread, barbecue sauce.
Oh man,
I think Miss J married me over that sandwich, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm about to move to California and marry you too. Is that legal out there? Can we do that?
Yeah, you can do anything you want out here, man. It's Wild Wild West.
I'm on my way. Michelle for $8. The lurker is here, dropping those Cult of 8 super chat. Says Dorothy, we appreciate you, Michelle. Adrian drops a 20 spot, man. That's an orange boy. Let's roll on down here and let's play the clip and let's get fired up on this Friday morning.
Rocky Top!
Adrian says, good morning, everyone. Score prediction 62-10. 5 sacks and 2 interceptions. I would take that score. I would walk away from the game fired up and excited, looking to go beat the brakes off of NC State. Jody Wooten for $5. So excited for this football season. Bought a new TV to watch it on. Rocky Top Tom for $5. This is the home of Eric Berry, Reggie White, Al Wilson, but also Chris White, Doug Atkins, Bowden White, and Gerard Mayo. We want elite defense. Who's your favorite linebacker that's not named Al Wilson? Gerard Mayo's a good one. Kevin Simon's a good one.
Burnett's a good one, but I'm actually going to go with Ranuk Thompson.
Oh,
it was a real big personal favorite. I just love that guy. Had a hit stick like no other, man, and could really fill.
He looked like a Boogie Bentley created character on a Tuesday night.
He did, man. Really scary dude. Really scary dude.
Let's see here. Alicia Kaufman drops a $5 super chat. Nothing to say, just a tip in the tip jar. We appreciate that. Dakota for $5. This is my favorite damn show. Go Vols, Tennessee versus Florida. Here I come. Go Vols. Shout out Dakota. We appreciate it. Brad for another 20 spot. We'll play the clip.
Rocky Top!
Brad says, go big damn Orange High School football tonight. Vols tomorrow. Also get to be with my cousin and his family in Knoxville, who hasn't been to a game in over 20 years, plus his kid's first game ever. So geeked out for this weekend. Do you have any stories like that? Like I've told the story a million times that the first game, man, I've been a Tennessee fan since birth. Like I came out this way. I was just born this way, born a Tennessee fan, but I never went, man. As a kid, we would go to Knoxville. We would drive by the stadium and it's like, you're looking at holy ground, but I never got to go until I was an adult. I got free tickets and the guy that I went to is no longer here, man, passed away from brain cancer. And it's like, that memory is with me forever. Right? Like we got to experience that together. And the funniest thing was it was when Michael Munoz played offensive line for Tennessee. And my buddy had a Michael Munoz jersey. And we all made fun of him. We said, who buys an offensive lineman jersey? Like it was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
So he's down there rocking it. We're at the Vol Walk. He's got Munoz jersey. We look over. Hall of Fame offensive lineman Anthony Munoz, the father of Michael Munoz, is standing there. And here goes my dumb buddy that has this jersey that we've all made fun of, and he gets to go meet that kid's dad wearing his jersey. What an epic moment. And now his wife, when he passed, gave me that jersey, man. So I still got that 77 jersey. Any fun stories for you like that, like memories? I know you don't get out of here as much as some of us do, but
I mean, there's so many memories of all football. I've talked about it, but I mean, for me, it was different, right? Because I had to catch them out here when they were out here, right? When I was young anyway. So my first memories are at the Rose Bowl of Tennessee. And, the Rose Bowl is an awesome place. For those of you who haven't gotten a chance to ever watch a game at the Rose Bowl, obviously hallowed college football ground there. But that's awesome. My first time in Neyland, was everything I thought it'd be, man. I was absolutely blown away by it. As mentioned on here before, I've been fortunate enough to to never witness a loss at Neyland Stadium. So that place is special to me, man, and I think I get choked up whenever I walk through those halls. Certainly, special stuff. And when I went there for the South Carolina game this last year, I brought a really, really, really close friend of mine, big Trojan fan, big USC fan, but always is kind of like Tennessee because he knows how much I love him, big football guy. But I'll tell you what, man, when the anthem got done playing and the Jets buzzed by at Neyland Stadium, I teared up, man. I looked over at my buddy and straight tear running down his face. Awesome stuff, man. Awesome
There's nothing
stuff.
like Neyland. By the way, everybody, take note of that. Coach Jay is undefeated in Neyland Stadium. Remind them what game you're going to this year, Coach Jay.
Bama.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Forget feels like 98. It feels like 22. Hammered at Vols headquarters gifted a Talkin Vols membership. We always encourage those gifted Talkin Vols memberships. Tony Canada also gifts a Talkin Vols membership. Seth Binkley gifted 5 Talkin Vols memberships. That is a lot. We appreciate that, my man. Jason Sparks becomes a member of the channel. Thank you, Jason. We appreciate that support. Nicholas drops a 5-star spot. 5-spot question for Coach Jay. Why isn't your helmet signed by Boogie Bentley? Sigh. Rookies.
I didn't want to ruin the value of the helmet. Sorry.
Oh, man. When my kids walk in and go, who signed that? The best part, I told the story on air when I sent that signed helmet to Nicholas. My wife had to take it to the post office, and they're like, "Oh, is this signed by a player?" Nope. Just some dude sitting in my basement talking about Tennessee football. All right, we got 313 people watching. We appreciate you all, man. Your generosity, lot of super chats coming in, a lot of memberships coming in. We appreciate that. That's how this channel survives. That's how it functions. It's how we get to do a Friday morning show. I'm not sitting here working for the man. I'm hanging on here talking with Coach Jay. And man, do you know how many DMs I got last night about a certain game that was on TV because of a certain narrative that was going on around here? NC State. Everybody was talking about NC State last night. Favored to beat Western Carolina by almost 33 points, but they trailed 21-17 heading into the fourth quarter. You can see they take care of business. 21 unanswered in that fourth quarter. I think for me, like, and I was in and out watching some of it. My wife worked last night, so I was taking care of the little man and moving around, but had the game on. And I mean, Western Carolina ran all over them. They averaged almost 7 yards a carry. So when I look at Josh Heupel's offense, and when I look at D. Stamp and Cam Seldon, I think Tennessee's going to have a field day running the football. Now, the question was NC State's offense. That's what you were pretty high on. They got some good wide receivers. They got Grayson McCall transferring in. He struggled last night. People are saying, oh, they were vanilla. That's why were they? I seem to remember them running a double reverse pass in the first half. Coach Shea, what were your thoughts?
There was certainly a point where they threw the vanilla right out the window and reached for the Ben & Jerry's Reese's chocolate s'more double brownie fudge. Certainly. But listen, going back to my beginning thoughts of when the game started, it felt like, in sync. They were out of sync. They didn't have any, continuity. My initial thought was this is a team with a ton of transfers on it, and these transfers haven't learned to play together yet. Obviously, they settled down a little at the end. McCall threw that pick early. Couldn't seem to get on the same page with anyone all game other than Conception. Made some plays out of his structure later in the game and seemed to get him back on pace. So I do think the bare bones of that team are there, and you don't want to put too much into one loss. But look, Western Carolina is a decent team. I think you could put them in the same breath with an Austin Peay, with a UT Chattanooga, right? They're not a pushover smaller team. They're pretty good. They've got, good solid players who play together and play hard together. And for those of you who don't think that can happen to a team like Tennessee, I brought it up the other day. I want everyone to sit back and remember being ticked off about being vanilla in that Virginia game and then playing Austin Peay and what was happening with 36 seconds left to go in the second quarter of Tennessee Austin Peay last year. I'll tell you what was going on. We were losing 6-3 to Austin Peay, and Joe Milton couldn't seem to make one throw. The offense was offsides every time. Our pre-snap was terrible. We looked awful. So, look, if you come out not ticking against a team that plays together, that can happen. I think we can run the ball on this team, like you mentioned. I think we can stop their run. If they can't figure out how to get, there's other they have good wide receivers, a great tight end, Noah Rogers. But if they become
remember
a
talking up
one,
Noah Rogers, how
yeah,
bad we wanted
yeah,
Noah
yeah,
Rogers at Tennessee. He's a good
yeah, and
player.
Justin Jolly, that's a great tight end. That kid is a monster out there. Really interesting matchup we're going to get between Arian Carter and Justin Jolly, the tight end of next week. We're going to get some answers from our cornerbacks in that game as well. But listen, if they become a one trick pony and all they have is KC Conception, Tennessee will rout them. They have to be able to spread the ball around and play a little more even keeled. They didn't look great yesterday, but don't be fooled. This is a team that could get a lot better between week 1 and week 2. Do I like the Vols' chance? Do I like the Vols' chance better now after watching that first game and them looking sloppy? Yes, but don't be completely tricked. The bones are there for this team to have a strong base.
I thought you brought up a good point last night when we were texting, when you said, you talked about the transfers, and it takes time, man. It takes time, especially when you got that many. I mean, you're talking about Noah Rogers, the guy that transferred in, the Justin Jolie kid. I mean, remember him in the Connecticut game? That's what's so comical about it, is these names. It's like we didn't have a tight end in the room other than Ethan Davis, and we were high on that guy, man. And he was, I don't think he visited. He was going to visit. Then I think he canceled his visit. But
there is one thing I just want to interject real quick, because it's one more thing I saw and I don't want to forget it. They weren't in fighting shape last night, NC State, on their offense and defensive line, specifically their offensive line. Those jerseys it looked like it was a monsoon game. Those jerseys were so wet with sweat. The offensive linemen were playing with open mouths and breathing heavy. They were really, really, really tired out there, and it just made me think, is this offensive line going to be in good enough shape when they're going against Tennessee's third string defensive line late in the fourth quarter, and that defensive line's for real? I don't think so, which is why I think Tennessee wins this game, as we can win the line of scrimmage.
I think so many people too. It's week 1, man, and so many people emotionally react, so much so that last year I started making a video series every week, and I'll be like, emotional reactions. And I just looked at Tennessee's opponents, and it's like they play slow, or they start slow, and people, they're terrible, let's overlook NC State. Coach Heupel says it all the time, and maybe it's coach speaking cliche. You make the biggest jump between week 1 and week 2. So we'll see what NC State looks like. I wasn't scared of them before that game last night. I'm not scared of them now. My opinion has not changed in any way, shape, or form. I think Tennessee wins by a couple of scores when NC State, I guess it's a neutral site game, but I like Tennessee by a couple of scores. Nomad Vol becomes a member of the channel. We appreciate you, brother. Seth Binkley for 5. Coach started taking suggestions from his assistant playing college football 25 in the tent. Coach started taking suggestions.
Just, I think, with the trick plays and all that kind of thing. I think that's what he's saying.
How bad is it to call a double reverse pass, hit it, and you got a lineman running downfield?
Yeah, they ran a couple plays where I thought they were giving away more than they wanted, but yeah, we'll dive into it a little more next week, I know.
But to go back to that, like that's you mentioned Austin Peay. Everybody says, what do you want to see this week? And by everybody, I mean me. That's what I keep asking everybody that I come in contact. What do you want to see against Chattanooga this week? That's not what I want to see. I don't want to be making, it's only because we were vanilla. That's why we were vanilla. No, I don't care. Go run inside zone 72 times, and you should put up 60 points on Chattanooga. That's it.
Yeah.
We're better.
What's it? And what Tony Dukes, is that Apollo's trainer's name in Rocky, the Rocky movies?
The bald guy,
Tony Dukes, yeah. When he jumps in the ring when Apollo's getting beat by Ivan Drago, and he's like, "This is supposed to be an exhibition." That's what I expect Chattanooga's coach to be jumping in the second quarter on the football field screaming like, "What is going on? We're supposed to be here getting a paycheck, not getting murdered in front of the American public." That's what I want.
What a great reference. This is supposed to be an exhibition.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Oh, what a great movie. Noah Snell for 5. What do you guys think about Gerald Mincey's comments about Kentucky's tempo being faster than ours? I've been asked this question so much, and it's like I wanted to make a video on it, and I never got around to it. I can pull it up. I got it right here.
I actually posted on that in the comments on Twitter to it, and my post, I actually posted the seconds, and Tennessee ran about, I think, 7 seconds faster per play than Kentucky when you actually look up the numbers. So you can say whatever you want, but fiction can be fun, but the reference section can be a little more interesting sometimes.
It's just Gerald Mincey. Why in the world? I saw where somebody on VolQuest was like, my biggest issue with this is why in the world would Stoops continue to let him get in front of a microphone? Because he never shuts up. It's anything he can do to take a shot at Tennessee. But here's the quote in reference. It's just the same, but a little worse. He says, we've got to run outside zone to the right. Then we got to hurry the ball. When we had scrimmages, we've seen that we can actually catch the defense off guard, stress the defense out, then throw it over the top. We just bought all into the system, and we all bought in what it takes to prepare to have our offense. Our rule is just to be the number 1 offense in the SEC. I think we have a good group of guys right now that we can do that with, and we just got to keep working. He goes on to say, us just buying into the offseason training and to what the coaches have for us, we're going to shock the world. Best believe it. And then he follows that up. If we just do what we have to do with our technique, our fundamentals, we'll move anybody off the ball. That don't matter if it's Kentucky's defense, Bama's defense, Tennessee's defense. We're just going to go out there and play hard. He goes on to say, he talks about the speed. I don't know. I don't see the quote in that article. Talks about the speed and how Kentucky's offense is going faster than Tennessee's offense. You can see here's the quote going back. When we go there to Needham, we're going to bust them in the mouth. We can put the standard back over here. Just stupid comments. But the one most recently that Noah's talking about is that their tempo is faster. What's funny to me, if you go back to when he originally transferred to Kentucky, he talked about how he liked being in a pro-style offense and it not being a gimmick and that it's going to develop him for the NFL. So speaking out of both sides of his mouth.
I was about to say the same exact thing. And for the record, that's 21.3 seconds for the Vols, 29.2 for UK. So that's a stark difference there. That's not even close. That's just someone trolling and giving us bulletin board material, and we will take it.
No way he shows up and lines up in front of James Pierce.
Yeah.
No way that's happening. Ankle injury. Or he's going to be out smoking weed the night before the game again. Zeb Williams for 5. Just want to say, GBO, thanks for making the offseason go by fast, Boogie. Thank you, Zeb. And shout out to Coach Jay and Coach Rice, man. They've been the ride or dies. They've been right here every single time we go live, talking recruiting, film breakdowns, all kinds of fun stuff. Eric Jones for 2. Also remember back to Georgia State. That sucked. You got to remember, though, that's a different coaching staff. We're not going to see that. We're not going to see that with this coaching staff.
Retro, right on cue.
Look at this. Why do you got
right on cue? Retro
changes his name. Retro, the UT hater. You see the one.
I gave him crap about the trophies. I gave him crap about the 2 trophies. You could have kept him though, Retro. My point with the 2 trophies was we play for national championships in football. So in my eyes, every national championship that you've won as a team is valid and matters and never really goes away. Those are yours forever and no one can take them away. So be proud of your national championships. Just know that we have more of them.
You know what I think about you, Retro? I don't believe there are good people that pull for Georgia. I think they're all terrible, ugly, disgusting human beings. I think it's just that no, there are no good Georgia fans, Eric. There are none. Greg J, he's just talking like a dude who didn't really want to leave. I don't think he bought into the culture, and maybe he was asked to leave. I don't know the exact circumstances, but keep your mouth shut. He sounds like a bitter ex-girlfriend. Let's see here. Dakota for 2 says, rest in peace, Kentucky. Yeah, we need to wear dark mode for that because it's going to be a funeral. Bleed Orange for 10. Speaking of signed helmets, I gifted a Tennessee helmet to my buddy, signed by my whole platoon before going to Iraq while in the Marine Corps. Wish I could get that thing back. That's cool, man. That's cool.
That's really cool.
And we appreciate your service as always. Black Metal Banjo for 10. It's that time of year. My blood pressure is up. My heart rate is elevated. We got Talkin VAWLS at work. Thanks, fellas. GBO. And don't be a Gerald. Don't be a Gerald, Coach Jay. Don't be a Gerald. How bad do you think productivity got across the state of Tennessee last year when we decided to do morning shows on Monday and Fridays?
It's a lot less. I think it went way down. As it should. It's football season. Why are they making us work?
Especially on Fridays. Fridays hit different, man.
Day. Football day.
It's high school football. You're not in the office anymore, though. I do miss that. I do miss when you had a high school game
Oh,
on Friday night. You were in there
yeah, I had the
with the
dry
dry
erase
erase.
board ready to go. Yeah, shoot, I miss my dry erase board too, man.
That was
I do
that
still have one for the record, just not where I am.
that first Friday morning stream. I'm like, brother, you may want to turn your camera a little bit. I can see your entire defensive scheme back there.
I mean, to be honest though, I'd have been really impressed if an opposing coach had sought me out enough to be on the Talkin VAWLS to try to get a look at the game plan. That would be a form of flattery.
Mm. All right, let's move back over to emotional reactions. I just want to take a look at the games coming up in the SEC this weekend. Of course, you got Oklahoma and Temple tonight. I've got the DVR ready to go for that one. I want to get a little peek of what Oklahoma looks like. What do you think when you look around the SEC? Of course, we got a big one, Georgia Clemson. Does Georgia lose the first regular season game for the first time in like 72 years at this point?
I mean, I have questions. You know, that game last year, Dabu didn't let Riley do his job as the new offense coordinator. He pulled a Jeremy Pruitt and said, I don't care. You just sit right there and do exactly what I tell you and don't run your offense and everything's going to be fine. Did Mr. Sweeney finally swallow his pride? Are we going to actually see a Riley style offense out of Clemson this year? I think that remains to be seen. I think they have plenty of talent there. I kind of agree with what Retro was saying the other day that I think they're slow out of the gate. Maybe Georgia, maybe Clemson's a good first quarter bet if you're looking for a little bit of an angle, and then maybe subsequently turn around and try to roll that money over into the second quarter Georgia, third quarter Georgia, fourth quarter Georgia. I think Georgia wins the game, but it wouldn't shock me if it was a little tighter than people like Retro want it to. I think Georgia should win that football game, though, and certainly has more talent. How do they look without Mr. Bowers? I know they have other talents. And so we're about to find out a little bit about Georgia, but once again, it is week 1, so should be interesting.
You got to think too, man. Some of these big games like Georgia and Clemson, like the Florida State Georgia Tech game, Florida State dropping one early. You're talking about a 12-team playoff. It really doesn't matter. Like losing that first week, you can still bounce back. You can still find your way in the college football playoff. We got Virginia Tech, Vanderbilt. Nobody cares about that. Of course, Tennessee, Chattanooga, Miami, and Florida. Dude, Florida, Billy Napier is going to get fired. There is no way he makes it through this season. Miami to open up the season. You got Samford next week, then Texas A&M, then Mississippi State, UCF, and Tennessee. They could have 2, if not 3 losses. They could lose to Miami, Texas A&M, and Mississippi State, all 3. They could lose all 3 of those games, have 3 losses going into that Tennessee game. You go 2-4 to start the year, and then, oh, by the way, the back half is where it gets brutal. Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State. Billy Napier could be fired after this year. I just don't see how he's going to survive.
Yeah, that it's going to be tough. I think Florida feels a little bit better about where they are this year than last year, but certainly there's a gauntlet in front of them, and they're going to have to run through the dang thing. Miami, Florida is a huge rivalry game, guys. Like those in-state rivalry games are always hard fought. For those of you who didn't get a chance to watch Cam Ward, Miami's new quarterback who played out here on the West Coast last year, kid can play. Kid is special. How does he fit into that crystal ball offense? How is Miami clicking? I think Miami's definitely the more talented team. It's in the swamp. It's in the morning or afternoon, I should say, for you guys. Morning for me, or semi-morning. But yeah, look, the swamp's going to be an advantage for Florida in that game. But I think Miami pulls out a really, really close game in the final minute or 2 of that one.
What do you like? I'm just kind of reading the chat while you're talking, and it's funny because everybody's kind of in agreement. They don't think Billy Napier is going to survive. But then on the flip side, I saw where somebody said we need Billy Napier to stay. He's terrible. Like we need to turn the corner against the Gators and the streaks. And gosh, losing to them last year was painful. It was painful. We can make excuses and talk about Cooper Mays and this, that, and the other, but it's time to turn the tide on that series. Josh Heupel needs to pull away. And I don't want Billy Napier to go anywhere.
Yeah. No, yeah, I hear you. And it looks like 7-5 would be good enough to keep him there, which also in turn I think kind of keeps his recruiting class at the bottom end of the top 20 like it is currently. So I think that's kind of an interesting angle of it as well. I know the year before he had a pretty decent class. They've had some collective problems though. There's holes on that team, but there's talent on that team as well. You know, Tennessee has been successful against Florida in the past when they've had a really cool, calm California quarterback back there. And
Nice, man.
I happen to know one that is currently in Knoxville. So Coach Jay feels good about that. He feels bullish about our next 2-3 years against Florida.
You said 7-5 keeps his job. Ole Miss is a loss. LSU is a loss. Texas is a loss. Georgia's a loss. Tennessee's a loss. That means they got to beat Miami, Texas A&M. They got to beat Mississippi State and Florida State. That's
yeah.
I don't see it. I do not see them making it to 7-5. What else we got? Colorado State and Texas. It's weird saying that that's a SEC game.
Yeah, that's obviously I think Texas gets them even though they have 0 running backs. I think they'll be just fine in that game.
I'm curious to see what Texas does in the SEC. I've taken my shots at Steve Sarkisian. I don't think he's as good as people think he is, but we'll see what happens.
I got a counterpoint for you, Boogie. I think Steve Sarkisian was the better coordinator over Lane Kiffin when they were at USC.
See, I don't necessarily disagree with him as a coordinator versus a head coach. I just don't think he's really. I don't think he's got this big body of work that everybody's acting like he's one of the best coaches in the SEC.
Yeah, and I might buy Lane Kiffin as a better. Now that you mention it like that, I might buy Lane Kiffin as a better head coach than I do Sarkisian. So maybe there's something kind of to that. Like everyone's got a role they excel in, right? Sometimes at life. So that's an interesting thought. But yeah, I'm kind of with you though. I think Texas trips up at points this year. You know, they'll beat someone good, but they'll also trip up a bit.
Old Dominion, South Carolina, Eastern Kentucky,
Old Dominion, Old Dominion, easy. No,
Furman, Ole Miss.
Back up, Coach Jay. Coach Jay got.
Dang, I'm just blowing right through.
Yeah.
Like, hold on, I want to talk about Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah, no. But I will say this: Ole Miss. Think about your North NC State game yesterday, right? I do think it's different because Jackson Dart's been there a long time, so it's a little bit different. But Furman's for real in that conference, right? They whacked that Western Carolina team. They whacked UT Chattanooga. I believe they beat the Bison one game last year that just gave Colorado a tough time. Furman can play, man. They're really good in that subdivision. Is Ole Miss playing together? Now, do I think they beat Ole Miss? Hell no. Do I think they get within 20 points? No. Do I think they could cover? Heck yeah. But anyway, moving on.
Let's see. Western Kentucky, Alabama, Alabama, A&M, and Auburn. Notre Dame and Texas A&M. That's an interesting game to me. That's an interesting game. I would love nothing more than Texas A&M to knock Notre Dame off. I would love it.
Yeah, I would love that. I'm for that. I did take a quick pause though before my son called me and asked me about that game the other night, and I'm playing with Notre Dame in the Dynasty. So at first I was like, "Nah, Notre Dame's gonna."
Isn't it weird how that happened?
I don't even like Notre Dame. I was like, what the heck? But yeah, I think A&M is gonna be a little settled down. I think they should be playing loose. I think they should be playing with house money this year. So I could definitely see them winning that game and giving some teams a run for their money. Notre Dame's got a great D-line and a great tight end, so we'll see if they're able to kind of keep that game stable from that standpoint.
It's fun. Like back in the day when we did our online dynasties, man, there was a year that I played with Louisville. I went and bought a freaking Louisville t-shirt. I bought a Louisville t-shirt and was rocking it. It's like all of a sudden you become a fan of that team because you build them into a powerhouse. Let's see here. MG Way drops a $5 super chat. We appreciate that tip in the tip jar. Says Gerald Mincey will come down with appendicitis or something. He will definitely still chirp on social media. Hashtag don't be a Gerald. Yeah, shit. Don't be a Gerald. We got 440 people watching live, man. That's a big audience for a Friday morning stream. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you smash a thumbs up. That's easy. Share this thing out. Let people know we're live. If you like these morning streams, man, think about supporting us, what we do around here. Hit that join button. It's $1. It's $1. We're about to hit 27,000 subscribers. The more $1 members we get, that's what gives us the opportunity to do this. I was talking to my dad on the phone the other day, and he's like, son, what are you going to do when people stop supporting you and they don't tune in and they don't drop the super chats? I said, Dad, I'll go back and work a 9 to 5. I'm not too proud to go work 9 to 5. That's what I'll do. I'll go get a job. But until then, we need your support. Keep it rolling in. We appreciate it. Eric Jones for 2. Be hilarious if Old Dominion beats Carolina. I would be here for that. And then you guys could tune into a certain channel and watch a stupid, fat, bald idiot yell and scream into a microphone. But there's another way you guys can support the channel. It's man, the season is here. And you guys can rep the brand inside Neyland Stadium when you're at the games. Vol World Order. We just dropped this. Bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. And if maybe 2 days from now you're like, man, I want one of those shirts. Where do I get it? The link is in the description of every single video to go get the Talkin VAWLS merchandise. We've also got Cruton with Boogie and the coaches. We got Lurker shirts. We've got Knoxville, Tennessee checkerboard shirts. My wife gets a lot of comments on this design when she wears it. Because a lot of people don't know it's about Talkin VAWLS. They just see Knoxville, Tennessee, and they like it. The Chosen One, Cult of 8, Talkin VAWLS letter-themed shirts. Danny White brought the letters back. We brought the letters back. Talkin VAWLS, get in where you fit in. Cult member, FUGA, Gator Hater. We got those clean TriStar shirts. Buck Fama, Boogie Dauber. You got the vote coming up soon. Why not vote for us? Balls by Fitty, Talkin VAWLS. This is one of the cleanest logos we got. State Pride logo. We got mustard theme. Whatever you want. It's at bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. By the way, if you don't like the offensive stuff like Buck Fama, you just go get a Beat Bama shirt. You don't want FUGA, you can get a Beat Georgia shirt. We got some clean styles, and we are Kentucky's daddy. We got that one in there for Gerald Mincey as well. All right, enough shills and plugs. We appreciate you guys. Joseph Ayers for 2. I'm late, but I'm here. GBO, let's go. We appreciate you, Joseph. It's good to see you in the chat. Carson for 2. Gerald equals a man Karen. That sounds about right. That sounds about right. Oh, man. Negaval says, Buck Fama, classic. A classic, I say. All right, let's talk a little Nico. Let's talk a little Nico because Heupel had some interesting comments about the playbook. I'm going to read through them. Talked about him in yesterday's video, but I wanted to bring it to Coach Jay today. He said Nico's got to play extremely well as a young quarterback. He says it's important that the 10 other guys around him play at a really high level as well. I expect him to do a great job of handling everything at the line of scrimmage. Communication, understanding the call versus the structure that we're seeing, making right decisions, get us into the right play when it's not a sound play, go make plays. The great thing about having a quarterback is we recruit to a skill set, being able to have an accurate pass or enough arm to spread the field, the ability to move inside the pocket, but they're a little bit like an artist, and each of them have their own little touch on the game. I'm excited to go play with him and watch him grow as a quarterback. Now, here's where it got interesting. Said he's got great command of what we're doing. He sees the field extremely well. He can push it vertically and is extremely accurate over the middle of the football field. He anticipates windows extremely well with his skill set. The playbook, Coach Jay, is wide open for us. Now, all last year, the entire year, everybody's saying this does not look like our offense. So much so that people are saying Alex Golesh left and took our offense to South Florida. It's Alex Golesh's offense. It's not Coach Heupel's. It's Alex Golesh. We're in trouble. The playbook's wide open. What do you think about those comments, Coach Jay?
I'm excited about it. I think that he made a big point last year to kind of throw a little secret warning symbol up that communication was a problem throughout the scrimmage season at Tennessee and that it was an issue under Joe. And he was kind of quietly signaling to us that, hey, listen, there's a problem here.
Look,
and
you threw a lot of darts. You threw a lot of darts last year.
Mm-hmm.
Who raised that big red flag right out of the gate when I heard that from Coach Heupel?
You brought it right up.
That's a problem. That's a problem. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
It's a huge problem. And then when you couple losing Mays at the beginning, who's the other half of that communication, it was just a recipe for disaster and getting our offense clicking out of the gate. Obviously, I don't think that's going to be an issue with Nico, and I think Heupel's also kind of signaling that, hey, that's taken care of, that's done. Will this offense be different than the Hendon Hooker offense? I think 100% it will be. Nico's a different player, like Hype said. There's going to be a lot of base stuff that's the same, of course, but it's going to look different. It's going to have its own fun feel to it, and be better in some ways and just different in some ways, like I said. But I'm certainly looking forward to it. I don't think we're going to see the same Nico we saw in the bowl game last year. Obviously, they hit him in the spring game, didn't really let us see too much of him other than a couple, comeback routes on the edge and one kind of skinny post. But I think you're going to see a lot from Nico tomorrow. I think they're going to let him throw a bit. I think they're going to let him tune up. I think they'll be vanilla to a degree, but it's going to be a really good, delicious Ben and Jerry's vanilla, not the store bought stuff. So I'm excited about it, and I don't want excuses either out of it. I think we should whip on them good. But once again, I think Nico's going to communicate at a high level. I think this offense is going to move incredibly fast when we want it to, and slow when we need it to. I think you're going to see true mastery and control of the offense out of Nico tomorrow.
Better or worse than Hendon Hooker's offense?
Out of the gate, not quite as good, but I think he'll surpass him at some point through the season.
Oh, that's a good segue to JD PicKell's comments here in just a second. I was listening to AP's interview with Heupel. AP get that inside. He got that inside stuff. Nobody else in the media is getting a Heupel interview, but he gets to go sit in the locker room the week of the game, the week of the first game, and interview Heupel. And he talked about how much better Nico is from the bowl game till now. And it's like, man, like I was impressed with Nico in the bowl game, and to take that big of a step in the offseason. And I've said this a lot. Like he was on campus in December. So he's been in this system for 21 months. When he rolls out there tomorrow, like he has been in it for almost 2 years. And you mentioned Cooper Mays. And so, something that Heupel talked about with Nico is his pocket awareness and his communication, his ability to understand protections. And then he talked about Cooper Mays. And Cooper Mays, he has been the center at Tennessee since Josh Heupel got here. Like to get that guy to come back for one last ride, it is so important, I think, for Nico. Like, and you mentioned, at first, maybe Hendon's offense is going to be better, but once Nico gets up to speed and starts clicking, how much better is this offense going to be? Tim Broyles for 2 says Vols by 50 or more. I like the way you think. Let's listen to what JD PicKell had to say, because I thought this was so interesting, and I'm seriously having deja vu because I feel like we've kind of had this conversation before, but this video just came out this week. So I know it wasn't based off this. Maybe it was just one of the random conversations we had. Let's listen to what JD PicKell says about Nico, and then it kind of fits right in with what you said about Nico versus Hendo. Why are we muted?
He's going to be special. What I would say within that is he is going to be special, especially by the end of the season. Now, his ability is so great that it might make him the man from the jump, and he might not have the acclimation period that most first-year starting quarterbacks have. But I think we would be remiss if we just said, okay, game 1, game 2 against NC State, you're a finished product. That's not necessarily how I think we should handle this situation. He's super talented, but you cannot replicate live bullets in 11-on-11 practice. You can't. Like when you're out there, when there's however many 1,000 fans screaming your name or screaming bad things about you in your name, like it's a totally different beast. And from everything I've been able to gauge about him, from what people say, super mature, super composed, which is going to, again, benefit him in this spot. But let's understand now, it might take a couple of games for him to reach his final form of 2024. Okay, so understand now, by the end of the season, I think he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC, if not all of college football. I feel that strongly about it. He's going to be.
What do you think about that? That's kind of like right. That's why I wanted to bring it up, because it is an interesting conversation. And he talks about how mature Nico is and how poised he is, and that's stuff that you've preached all offseason. You preached it all last year during the season. He's been in this system for almost 2 years. When do we see peak Nico?
I think about halfway through the season, but look, I think he'll always get better. Every time I've seen Nico have some space, and then I've gotten in front of him again, he's always improved. It's one of the great things about him. I know we've thrown around the comment, he tends to not make the same mistake twice, and you're always going to improve, and that's something that you do. And when you take coaching real well and you see the field really well, you're always going to get more and more comfortable. The game's going to continue to slow down more and more for you. So, and he's right about the live bullet comment, by the way, too. Like I said, the NC State game, you kind of saw it. You can be in the best shape of your life. I know Kaner talked about it too, someone who also played ball. But as soon as you start playing again in a game and it's real bullets, that conditioning almost goes right out the window. Like you got to get into game condition. It's a completely different thing. And for a quarterback, it's not so much about you're out there hitting another player, so the conditioning is so important, but it's about seeing the game as quickly as it's happening and processing as quickly as it's happening. The more he does that throughout the year, the more it will slow down for him. But listen, I think he's going to be dangerous out of the gate. A baby cobra is not a king size cobra, but it can still kill you. It's still got a very lethal bite, and I expect Nico to grow larger and larger by the day and become more lethal week to week.
And I think the schedule sets up beautifully for that, right? You
Yes.
got Chattanooga on Saturday to tune up. You got NC State, who I think Tennessee is going to be able to go out there and run the football down their throat. And how much does that benefit Nico, right? When you got a run game you can lean on, when you've got a defense that you can lean on, you go out and you go 3 and out, and you're struggling. You got to punt the football, and 22 seconds is off the clock, but you got a defense that you can now lean on. We've not had that. That 22 team didn't have that. They had to go out and score 52 points to beat Alabama. I don't think that Nico and this football team in 2024 have to go out and score 50 points. I don't.
No.
And, I was talking to Kaner on Locked On Vols this morning. And I said, I think this offense is ultimately going to be better than the 22 offense. And he was like, you think they're going to score 46 points a game? No, not necessarily. So maybe not statistically, maybe not numbers wise, because the way the game's changed and the clock rules that they've changed, I don't know that anybody is going to go out and score 46 points a game, but I think they're going to be more efficient. I think they're just going to be more efficient under Nico. And dude, Hendon Hooker is forever a Tennessee legend, and what they did in that 22 season was so much fun. But I think this 24 team is deeper offensively. They're deeper defensively, and I think that is going to pay dividends. But when you look at the schedule and you got Chattanooga to get tuned up, you got NC State, maybe it's a little test. Maybe you're a little nervous going into the second half, but I think Tennessee wins by a couple of scores. You got the Kent State game. You got 3 games to get tuned in, dialed in before you go on the road and play Oklahoma. And I just think the defense is going to carry Tennessee in that Oklahoma game. The more I look at it, and I want to see, look, we ain't seen a game yet, but I like the defensive line matching up against Oklahoma's offensive line. I think that gives us a huge advantage. And Nico, again, go out, be efficient, go out and show what you can do. But we're not leaning on you yet. But then when you start to get to the back half of the schedule and you got Alabama at home, you got Georgia, that's when we need Nico to show us that he is him and he can go out and take over a game that we never saw Joe Milton do. We just never saw him do it.
No. And, like you've been saying it in the last couple of weeks, Joe Milton didn't go out there and win you any games. Did you argue, did he go out there and lose you any games? Maybe not directly, but you need your quarterback to go out there and be able to win games for you at times, right? To go out there and put the team on his proverbial shoulders. And, there's going to be times where even a good defense goes out there and the offense coordinator's on his game. He's drawing everything up perfectly. And maybe the breaks are going against you. You're getting a little PI call here and there that maybe you shouldn't have gotten, and things aren't just clicking and it's not your day. And on those days, you're going to need Nico or your quarterback to go out there and say, it doesn't matter. I got you defense. Don't worry about it. I'm going to pick you up. We're going to bite down and get this done. And it didn't feel like Joe Milton was able to do that for this team at any point last year. So I think it's something we're absolutely going to get out of Nico. He's going to be dynamic out there and a painter, and I couldn't be more excited about it, man.
Let's see here. Bull for 5 says this is the year of the Vols. We will be proven to be a top tier program for years to come. Once again, no less than 11-1, no doubt this year. And I said 10-2. I was 9-3 or 10-2, and then I was leaning more 10 or 2, and then I start going through the schedule, and it's like either I pick them to beat Oklahoma, which means I think they win 11, or I pick them to lose to Oklahoma, and I think they go 9-3. It's like, so I can't win. I can't find a way to fit my prediction in. So I'm rolling with Bull. I'm going 11-1. Noah James for 5 says, damn, that gave me goosebumps.
Me too,
Orange 8.
Noah.
Jeff for 5, appreciate it, brother, says Vol World Order. Jeff's talking Vols, and he's talking Vols for life. I'm such an idiot. I screwed this up on Wednesday night. Now I'm gonna screw it up on Friday morning. I wanted to let you look at the depth chart. I'm not going to go as in depth with it, right? We went pretty dang in depth with it on Wednesday, and we kind of broke down each position group. God bless America. Maybe you have better eyes than those guys do. We'll see. If not, you can pull it up on Twitter, or you can pull it up wherever. Tennessee rolled out the depth chart, got a whole bunch of oars on it. But Coach Jay, when you look at this depth chart, you got to get fired up. You got to get excited about how much talent is on his football team. So when you look at these position groups, obviously we know the defensive line's a strength. What are some other strengths you see with this defense, or with this depth chart?
Cornerback. I think cornerbacks a point of depth. Obviously, I think wide receivers and tight ends are a point of depth. We'll see. I've got a weird sneaking suspicion our running back room could be a point of depth. I know that might sound a little odd to everyone. Everyone a little worried about it. If Selden is healthy, I think that it could have been a blessing in disguise, and maybe we're able to develop a little depth in that backfield with Bishop, Peyton Lewis, and Nelson's favorite, Mr. Khalifa Keefe. But I think that's a point of depth. I even think we're able to, pull a little depth out on the offensive line. I know a lot of people are worried about our depth there, but I think, look, Hype will trust the veterans on this team. It's why you see Mr. Will Brooks penciled in where he is on there. And it's a selling point, right? We haven't had a lot of transfers because they don't want to be around the team or they want more opportunity. We've had one or two, but most of them have been because we said, hey, look, you need to go seek playing time elsewhere. But when a kid comes to Heupel, let's use an example. Let's use Jason Jenkins sitting out there at what looks like third string. He was going to transfer this past offseason. So when he goes to transfer, Heupel's able to sit there and point and go, hey, look, you put your time in and work hard in this team, you're going to have a chance, and as a senior, to go play in the NFL, right? Look at it. I've proven it. Look at Will Brooks sitting there. Everyone wanted me to play the sexy freshman quarterback last year, and I rode with Milton because he'd been here the whole time, and I stuck with the team. I don't got to try to sell it because I've proven it with my actions that matters at Tennessee. If you work hard, you play hard, you try hard, you give your all for Tennessee every day, it's going to matter here at the University of Tennessee. I think that's a huge selling point, and I think it's keeping depth in this position groups all over the field, and I'm excited about that. And it's part of that buzzword we talk about when we talk about culture. It's those little things that seem easy, but a lot of coaches don't do it because it's not easy. It's easier to just go with the sexy kid and tell them they're young, and then you got a built-in excuse. It's not ride or dying with the guys that have lived it through blood, sweat, and tears.
What do you think? This is a question Kaner asked me on this morning's Locked On Balls, talking about Will Brooks. As a fan, throw the coach speak and the loyalty and all that stuff out the window. He was like, as a fan, how do you feel when you look on the depth chart and you see Will Brooks is starting? Does that concern you? And I'm not in full-blown meltdown mode like some of the people are on the general's quarters. Like some of those guys are like, oh, well, we're going 6-6 this year. Yep, it's over.
Yep.
But for me, so many times, and I'm included in this too, we as fans, we freak out, we yell, we complain. How long did we hear that Tank McCullough, that Jalen McCullough was not good enough to play safety in the SEC? And Tim Banks continued to trot him out there and play him at safety, and everybody's saying he's not good enough. We need to go with somebody younger. By the way, if you didn't pay attention this week, Tank McCullough just made an NFL roster. I think if you're good enough to make an NFL roster, you're probably good enough to play in the SEC. So what's your trust level like in Tim Banks? And is there any concern that you see Will Brooks there instead of maybe Jacoby Thomas transferring in from MTSU, who we thought was going to be more athletic and more of a playmaker.
I trust Tim Banks. I think he's a little bit like a baseball pitcher. I think there is games where he doesn't have his best stuff. But for the most part, I do trust Tim Banks out there. As far as Will Brooks goes, I think he'll be fine. I think the coaches trust him. I think we're going to get a lot of rotation at that position either way. And there's also something else I believe that's going to help Will Brooks out there that we did not have before when Tank McCullough was there, which is two fast, athletic, lockdown cornerbacks to help. He doesn't got to do it all by himself out there. He's going to have help. If Tank McCullough had Jermon McCoy and Ricky Gibson playing cornerback, I think he would have been in a better position and not needed to be so much of an eraser there in the back end as he needed to be. And when you need to be an eraser back there, that's when they can beat you with speed. And I think that was Tank's problem. I think that's some people's concern with Will Brooks. But once again, can he get put into precarious matchups? Certainly. But does he have a lot more help out there and a lot more speed out there? Certainly he does with Jermon McCoy, Jordan Matthews, Ricky Gibson, and when Boo Carter's out there, he's got electric speed back there at the safety position as well. So I don't think he's got to do it alone, and he's a smart, sound football player.
I'm curious to see if Boo Carter makes a play in the return game. Like, the returners aren't even listed here. It looks like it cut off. Let me see if it's on Caner's. Punt returner, Squirrel White, or Jermod McCoy, or Boo Carter. I'm curious to see if they throw Boo Carter out there and let him put the fear of God. Because you talk about being vanilla, right? We don't want to show anything. Sometimes you do want to show something. Sometimes you want to give him a little something to prepare for, right? If you're going to use Nico in the run game, all it takes is Nico going out there one time against Chattanooga and pulling it and keeping it. And then it's like, okay, we got to keep our eye on that, especially in the red zone. We saw what Nico could do running the football in the red zone, but you show Boo Carter's athleticism in the return game, or maybe you don't. Maybe you put Squirrel White back there and you fair catch everything. So when you need a punt return, you roll Boo Carter out there. I don't know.
They're both lightning fast. Maybe they feel a little more comfortable early, like on the first punt return, second punt return type thing to, have Squirrel out there, someone who's played a lot of football in college. I could see him being a little nervous about trying out a true freshman to return punt number one. But I think once you've blooded Boo Carter and he's been out there and gotten the speed and gotten hit for a second, I certainly would feel comfortable with him at that point. He's got great hands on him, super athletic. Everyone knows all the rest there, but I certainly think that once you kind of get his legs under him, you have him back to return punts.
All right, guys, we are a little over 24 hours away from kickoff. I want to remind you guys the schedule. Football season is here, so we're full steam ahead. These Friday morning shows, every Friday, 10 a.m., me and Coach Jay going to be on here talking up, getting fired up for the next game on Saturday. Tomorrow, game day. We're going to go live an hour before kickoff. So at 11:45, we'll do Talkin VAWLS Live. It's a fan call-in show. So all the members of the channel get to come on the show. We start at the Talkin VAWLS Elite level. If we have time, we work our way down. If we don't, sometimes, man, there's so many people trying to get on the show, we just can't move down. Immediately following the game, Talkin VAWLS Live post-game show. Me, Coach Jay, Dauber, and Dustin Sellers is going to be back in the house for those post-game shows. Sunday morning, wake up bright and early, pour your coffee. After having a night to sleep on it and kind of process the game, I make a video series called The Day After. We'll kind of recap the game and talk about it, and then we'll do a fan call-in show Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Monday morning, 9 a.m., me and Kaner do the morning show, and then we usually watch the Hypo press conference after that. Tuesday nights, we're playing EA Sports College Football. This coming Tuesday at 6:30, Jaden Lofton, 4-star edge rusher, will be in the house. We just found out Wednesday while live on air that Jaden's going to have knee surgery, so he's missing his entire senior season. I said, man, come on, let's talk about it. Let Vol Nation love on you a little bit, and you can maybe beat me up on EA Sports College Football. Wednesday nights at 7, Talkin VAWLS Live. That's the schedule. It ain't changing. We're going to be bringing you all kinds of content. Let me catch up with you guys on Super Chat. Seth Binkley for 5. Last game I got to attend was Joe's first game against Bowling Green. What a wild ride it has been since then. Andrew Short for 5. Nico going to show he is him in the 4-game home stretch, starting with beating the piss out of the Gators. Billy fired with cause. Signed, Nico and James. Nicholas, for 5 serious question for the coach. I'll take this one. Do you think in the Iowa game that Nico was staring down his receivers too long?
So I recently rewatched this game, and I see MGWay immediately respond. You can see it from the seats. So let me answer this. No, yes, yes, and no. And let me answer real quick. After the game, I can even remember watching Pancakes and Bacon, and they were talking about how much they loved him going through his progressions, and he did in that game go through progressions very well. There was 2 routes that he was staring down his receivers in, but they were both designed stare downs, and it was the seam to comeback option route that he kept throwing to Caleb Webb in that game. And the reason you want to stare that route down is you want to make sure you pull the safety coming deep so that he can run the comeback. And then when he runs the comeback, you can hit him. But if that linebacker has walled off into that flat, you will see him, and then you have moved the linebacker with your eyes, and you can hit the slant coming across, which he would have hit to Ramel Keaton had he not dropped that football when it was set up. So I thought it was set up very nicely. So there are times as a quarterback where you want to stare down your route, because if you don't, there's not going to be times where you can move the defender with your eyes. So sometimes quarterbacks can do it too much and abuse it and be guilty of only looking in one place. Sometimes it's designed. It all matters how quickly they go through their progressions when they need to off of the switch up from that play.
Did you get all that? That's exactly what I was going to say. I mean it word for word what I was going to say. That's why Coach Jay and Coach Rice are on the show, bringing that knowledge. Dylan for 5. If Harrison plays well at start, maybe Boo can play safety in time and get the best 11 on the field overall. Maybe, but I really think that Boo is like picture made for that. The star position is so dumb to say. The star position is the star in this defense. That's what like Theo. Look at what Theo Jackson did in the star position in this defense. I think Boo Carter is going to feast in that position. So I don't know. Obviously, he can play safety. Played safety in high school. But we'll see how that back end shakes out. Nicholas said I did a great job telling Coach Jay what to say. I typed it all out in the back room. I typed it all out in the private chat so he could. I didn't want him to get nervous and not know how to respond to that.
I appreciate the help, Boogie. Thank you.
Yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing. All right, let's talk about this Chattanooga game. We already made our official predictions on Wednesday night, but Coach Jay's not on Wednesday night, so we save his predictions for Friday morning. Shout out to Penny from Big Bang Theory there on the right side of the screen. She got a great personality, Coach Jay.
Super great.
Anyways, what the hell is happening? It's Friday morning. Friday morning. All right, Tennessee, Chattanooga. The Vols are favored by 38.5, I think it is. Chattanooga coming off an 8-5 season in 2023, number 8 in the FCS coaches poll. So you talk about FCS teams in Austin Peay and Western Carolina. You know, this is a team that's right around that same type of level. But what do you? Let's start. Actually, the floor is yours. You just break down this game for us. Tell us what you want to see. Give us your prediction. We'll get out the door.
UT Chattanooga is a capable team from their division. Beat the aforementioned Austin Peay in a thriller last year, so a fun team. A good linebacking core, solid defensive line who knows how to play with good gap integrity. Good cornerbacks. Safeties aren't going to be able to run with Tennessee, but a nice little solid defense in their own right. A good running game. Nice solid little quarterback transfer from UCLA who's been there a couple of years. Knows how to run that offense. You're going to see a lot of funnel screens, a lot of bubble screens, a lot of quick outs, quick slants. They're going to try to get that ball out quickly. I don't think it's going to matter. I think our corners can play press really well, play inch technique really well, and we'll be just fine in the game. And I'm excited about it. I think Nico gets going pretty early. I don't know if it's Series 1, Series 2, or Series 3, but I'll go no later than Series 3. He'll start really, really humming. This offense will really, really start moving. And as soon as it does, it's going to remind you a lot of the Hendon offense in this regard. When that offense would score, they would score, punches and bunches. They would score quickly. They'd put up 28, 35 in a blink of an eye. And when it does click at some point in the first 3 series early for Tennessee, you're going to see punches and bunches. It's going to go extremely quickly. Nico can put up a ton of points really easy. I know it was high school, but I was at a game where Nico put up 7 touchdowns in 2 quarters really, really quickly on a team. And I expect him to do something similar in this game, to be honest. I think you're going to see them fly really quickly. I think it's going to be impressive. I think you're going to see great play out of our linebackers, defensive line, and corners. I think we should work in unison pretty well. I want to see the offensive line play dominant. I want to see them give Nico a million years to do whatever he wants with the football. I thought they were extremely lackluster in that Iowa game, and I want to see them play a dang good football game against Chattanooga. But listen, Tennessee is going to be too much for them. I think it could, like I said, start a little slow, but I think it ends up very lopsided. Coach Jay is going to go 56-9 Volunteers.
How come I went first and everybody picked a score right on top of mine? You bunch of like we're playing process right. Man, you said something that fired me up. It's like, gosh, just looking back at 2022, or even going back to 2021, it's like, how many times did Tennessee come out and jump all over somebody 28-0, 35-0, like South Carolina, Missouri, they jumped all over early. It seems like we've not seen that. And I'm ready to see this offense in its true form once again. Coach Rice is in the house, dropped a $2 super chat, said, "What up, fam? Can't wait for tomorrow." Yeah, don't forget, guys, we're going to go live an hour before kickoff, 11:45. Get your coffee ready. I don't know, some of y'all probably be drinking beer. I know how you guys are. You guys like to get lubed up and ready to go. I know y'all going to be drinking.
Maybe a little early for me. I mean,
go get me no, it's not.
Maybe. What was it, 9:45 my time?
No, 8:45.
It's game week. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's game week. Coach,
you got to be on East Coast time. Hey, it's not.
Switch up all my clocks.
Just imagine that you're tailgating.
Yeah.
Like if you're tailgating, you start drinking at 8 o'clock in the morning, right? Isn't that what everybody does?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah. I'm good with it. No hard alcohol though. We got rules here on the Talkin VAWLS.
We do.
Network.
Why do we have those rules?
There's a certain member of the Talkin VAWLS community whose internet is subpar from time to time, who's been known to
allegedly
enjoy his Pirates of the Caribbean coconutty beverages a little bit too much after a big Volunteer victory. Love you, Mr. Bad Internet. Love you.
I can go ahead and say we have all been guilty.
I've been
all of us
been
have done
guilty
it.
of it. I've been
all
guilty
of us have
it.
done it.
You talk smack, but we're
Dauber just most recently. Oh man. Oh my gosh. All right, that's gonna do it. The first Friday morning show is in the books. Tune in tomorrow morning, 11:45 for the tailgate show. But for Coach Jay, my name's Boogie Bentley. Football time is here. Go Big Orange.
That we call